Family, what's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube. My goodness, do we have a lot to discuss today. To my right, we got the latest college football playoff, the college football rankings for the coaches poll. As you know, the college football playoffs come out on Tuesday. So these rankings right here, they're kind of make-believe, right, because they don't mean a lot. But we'll go over them, and we'll talk about, obviously, the Iron Bowl. We'll talk about the SEC title game. We'll talk about Lane Kiffin. We'll talk about some college football hires. I'm telling you, this is going to be an action-packed show. Thanks for kicking it with me this morning right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Following the Iron Bowl. Did you guys sleep last night? How are you guys already here? Yo, I'm telling you. So I usually set that Wake Up Bama to like 4 a.m. So I woke up and it was 6:30. And I went to go see, the responses, and nobody had commented. Well, I set it for December 1st. So December 1st is tomorrow. So I was tired, man. And I'm a little bit tired today. But, man, the show must go on. And following yesterday's victory against Auburn, look, I was just having a conversation with my son 2 seconds ago. And he was like, he came in here and he was like, what do you think about the Georgia game? And I'm like, and I'll talk about the Georgia game here in a minute, but I have full confidence against the Georgia Bulldogs, 1,000,000%. This is going to sound so weird. Maybe I'm still tired, but Auburn is a team that can beat Alabama. All right. The quarterback, he's a problem. He ran for over 100 yards. If their receivers could catch, they would be a problem. All right. If they could catch on offense and defense, they could have had a couple interceptions. They could have had, some more opportunities. They had penalties that were self-inflicting wounds. The game against Georgia, Georgia is a great football team, and they have a really good football coach, but it's going to come down to quarterback play. I promise you. And that is where Georgia is going to struggle against Alabama again. There is no way that Gunnar Stockton is going to be able to cook Alabama's defense. So I'll talk about that more in just a minute. All right. So let's go into the college football rankings. This is the coaches poll. Okay. So not a lot of movement, but what I was curious to see is where a team like A&M would go and how far they would fall. So they were 3 and they fell a couple spots. They're now 7. Nothing changes for Alabama. They're still behind Notre Dame. As you can see, Oklahoma, they came back to beat LSU. Texas Tech rolled up West Virginia. So everything kind of stays the same for the most part. The only shift was Oregon jumps to 4, which is interesting, and Ole Miss moves to 5. Texas Tech gets moved to 6. On the right, you have a couple playoff bubble teams. BYU, Vanderbilt took it to Tennessee. BYU won yesterday big. They are now 11-1 on the year, and you have Miami finishing out at 10-2, and Texas trying to knock on the door at 9-3. So I think when you look to the rankings, and I have my ranking sheet coming up, and I'll show you kind of what I'm thinking. The team that we have to watch, in my opinion, is this BYU team. So let me kind of go over these scores real fast, and then we'll kind of move with it. Alabama, as you know, defeated Auburn 27-20. Texas defeated Texas A&M. That was on Friday, 27-17. Ole Miss defeated Mississippi State. Oklahoma 17, LSU 13 in a game where LSU certainly had chances. Vanderbilt beats Tennessee to end the regular season 10-2. They won 45-24. Georgia beat Georgia Tech 16-23. You can read the rest right here. The Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12. The late game was Notre Dame beating Stanford by a score of 49-20, which sets up championship Saturday. Okay, so next Saturday we will have all the conference championship games taking place, and you have Alabama taking on Georgia, and surprise, Georgia is 1.5-point favorite, right? So I'm not surprised to see Alabama being the underdog. And let me ask you, I'm just going to start a poll inside the comment box. Confidence level in beating Georgia. What is it on a scale of 1 to 10? For me, mine's really high. And I'll tell you why, and I'll talk about that in the show. So I'm just going to do high, mid, and we'll go down. We'll do low. Confidence level in beating Georgia. All right, proofread it. Here we go. You have Duke and Virginia, which is a really weird one because I guess if Duke wins that game, and I'm still a little bit confused by this because they have to take the highest ranked team from the conference. But does that mean even the highest ranked team, if the team doesn't make the championship game? You know what I'm saying? Which makes playing in the championship game ridiculous. Do you see what I'm saying? So like Duke and Virginia, let's say Duke wins the game. Does that mean they take Miami from the ACC since Miami would be ranked higher than Duke? So if you're like Duke, you're like, yo, we won the ACC championship, but we don't get in the playoffs, which they shouldn't. But that just shows you how stupid these rules are for college football, right? The Big Ten, you have Ohio State taking on Indiana, right? And it's actually Ohio State that is favored by 5.5. I need to fix that. And then Texas Tech is favored by 12.5 over BYU, right? Top 5 highest ranked conference champions. So that's what I'm saying, linked conference champions. Would that mean, well, because Miami wouldn't be a champion. Do you see what I'm saying? Capstone, yeah, you were trying to help me out yesterday. Let's see what he says. No, the 5 highest ranked conference champion. A Duke win blocks Miami. See, that's what I was thinking because they would win the conference, which is strange to think about because they keep on putting Miami in the graphic. But I'm like, Miami didn't play in the ACC championship game. They didn't win the ACC, so I get it. They're ranked higher, but Duke would be the champions. What a weird the playoffs are absolutely strange how they figured it out, but that's it. So you have Duke and Virginia, and then you have Texas Tech taking on BYU. So the college football playoff rankings, which has not been updated since Tuesday, I have it highlighted right here that Texas A&M is the only team within this field of 12 to lose, okay? I don't know where Texas A&M is going to fall. They're clearly going to fall outside of that top 4. I would imagine maybe like that 6 to 8 range. They're probably still going to host a game. We'll see where they fall. If you kind of put in the numbers, it's actually Ole Miss that is ahead of Texas A&M in terms of common opponents because now they have the same record. So I'm curious to see if Ole Miss is higher than A&M. But I have to ask you, fam, and Jarvison with the super chat. Thank you so much, dog. In my opinion, Bama is in win or lose. The committee shouldn't be able to punish us for losing to a team we already beat. That should be a wash, especially with this game being at a neutral site. Yeah, I'll talk about that in more a little bit, expansive version of that, Jarvis, in just a second. But thank you so much for the super chat. Bring that up in just a second because I'm going to show Alabama's playoff resume. Look, fam, I have to ask you something. And I just did a video and I pushed this out. It has to do with Ole Miss. I just want to get this out there. So right now, and I'm going to talk about Lane Kiffin a little bit on this show. But just help me out. Like Capstone Farms, you seem to be like, college football savvy. A lot of you are. So this is more like a college football question. Ole Miss just finished out its season 11-1. Outstanding season. I enjoyed watching them. Their quarterback, baller, running back, baller. With what is happening right now, it seems that Lane Kiffin clearly is not going to coach in the playoffs. He is going to take, it sounds like, his offensive coordinator and a couple other whoever with him to LSU. I don't know if the players are following him to LSU. I would imagine some do, but when does that happen? Is there any chance, based on what is happening right now at Ole Miss, that an 11-1 team is looked at as not a playoff team because of kind of the drama that's happening with Lane Kiffin? Lane wanted to coach a team. I'd be like, no, you can't coach a team. You're a coach of somewhere else. Now, we appreciate what you did here, and we fully understand the calendar, but you can't coach here, okay? And I think this has been, and I'll talk about Lane Kiffin in a second, but I'm just from that perspective, I'm wondering if Ole Miss is in. So you guys, let me ask you just a yes or no. Is Ole Miss in the playoffs regardless? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I don't, if players transfer and they follow him, man, I don't know. Here's a look at Alabama's resume, all right? Alabama is 10-2, and this is kind of going back to what Jarvis said. Jarvis feels that Alabama is in regardless, win or lose on Saturday against Georgia. Most of you guys have Ole Miss in. Okay. Thanks, because that's something that I'm, like, worried about. But if players start to transfer, then certainly. You know what? Last night they pointed out that Alabama is the number 1 seed in the SEC. And that's kind of going up to Jarvis's point. Jarvis on the Super Chat was like, look, I feel that Alabama is in win or lose. The committee shouldn't be able to punish us for losing a team that we already beat. That should be a wash, especially with this game being at a neutral site. Again, thank you so much, Jarvis. I appreciate it, bro. The number 1 seed says a lot. Yo, this is the SEC, right? You know the teams that are in the SEC. They finished out as the number 1 seed. They beat number 4 Georgia, which is still one of the best wins in college football, right? They have 4 wins against top 25 teams, right? I don't know where their defense is going to be after this game against Auburn, but still probably top 15. Their passing offense probably took a dip yesterday because of the numbers, but I would imagine still top 20. Their run game, while it's 103, I do have to say, and I will talk about this in a minute, I do feel that their running game looked better yesterday against Auburn. Okay, and I'll talk about Jam Miller and the update that I got later on in the program. But you're only getting better or worse, and I thought the run game took a step forward. Jam Miller looked the best that he's looked in a long time, right? We get it. They lost to Florida State, who's unranked, who finishes out the season 5-7. Hold on, I got to take this call. It's from my mom. Sorry, that was my mom. We have to get, long story short, I'm a dad. My daughter has casting today for Annie from 2 to 7 p.m., and we need to get some lunch meat today. My mom's in town for the holidays, and I need to get some lunch meat to be able to make her a snack for 2 p.m. when she goes, because she's going to be at the theater from 2 to 7. I'm a parent first and foremost, so I had to take a call from my mom. But that's Alabama's resume. And here is how I have the bracket set up, okay? So this is my bracket going off the criteria as of today, okay? And I just got an email that said that Ryan Williams is sitting out the rest of the season. I don't know if that's true or not. I get a bunch of different emails and texts. It's crazy. Just based off today, I have Ohio State number 1, Indiana number 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, right? Number 5, I have Oregon. Number 6, I have Ole Miss. Number 7, I have A&M. Number 8, I have Oklahoma. 9, Notre Dame. 10, Alabama. So in this scenario, Bama would be traveling to A&M. Here's how this won't work, okay? Because if Alabama beats Georgia, then Alabama is getting a top 4 seed. The only way that this does hold is if Alabama loses, and they'll be on the road in the first round. Okay? I'm trying to see if I have any flaws in here. I don't think so. I mean, you have to take the group of 5. You have to take the ACC champ. Notre Dame on the road playing at Oklahoma. I guess the only thing that, like a team like Miami or Vanderbilt, they're going to be like, yo, we have the same record as Notre Dame. We should get in. I think the Notre Dame versus Miami is a very interesting debate. Is like, how are you playing lately versus head-to-head? Should that decision between Miami and Notre Dame be taken, into a room, or was it handled out on the field? Yo, Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head. We've been talking about that, but Notre Dame has been slicing up everybody on the back end, right? So in this scenario, Alabama on the road with a 10-3 record. And I know everybody is scared if Alabama loses this game, But as I talk about the SEC championship game, hopefully you have a little bit more confidence. And this isn't Kyle being like Mr. Optimistic, because honestly, the only team that I felt would really present challenges, and this is going to sound so strange, fam. I can't even believe I'm going to say this. Auburn is a team that's better designed to beat Alabama than Georgia is, okay? Because of the type of quarterback that they have and the type of defense that they have. Georgia has a good defense for sure, right? But they don't have a quarterback that can challenge Alabama's defense. They really don't. They have a head coach that can, and he's the great equalizer for Georgia. Whereas, things aren't, going too well on the Plains. Although they did hire Alex Golish, a name I do like. So what we're watching for, before I get on to my next topic, is this matchup right here, the Big 12. If Alabama loses to Georgia right here, then we really have to watch what happens in the Big 12. If somehow BYU beats Texas Tech, both of these teams are in and would probably knock out a 10-3 Alabama. And that's with the loss. I don't think that BYU, let me ask you guys, inside the comment box, do you think there's any chance that BYU beats Texas Tech? I really don't. I really don't. And see, like SWA is talking about something that we have continued to ask is you don't have to take the ACC champ, the highest ranked conference champion. If Duke wins, they are not ranked. And then that brings up the whole debate. Well, didn't they win the ACC? They won the championship, but they're not ranked. It's like, what's the point of even playing in the championship game? And that's kind of getting to Alabama versus Georgia. And I'll talk about that in a second. But who's to say that Georgia even plays their best players? You know what happened? Do you guys remember what happened last year to Georgia in the SEC championship game? What happened? What happened to their quarterback? Let me get to this Lane Kiffin deal real quick, and then we'll talk SEC title. All right, so the latest Saturday, there was supposed to be a decision. That was postponed. Hey, fam, honestly, can I ask you an honest question? Straight up. Do you feel that Lane Kiffin was kind of waiting to see the outcome of Alabama and Auburn? I'm dead serious. Or do you think that's kind of just like a conspiracy theory? Do you think that he was just waiting to see that outcome? Because I promise you, and it's hard to go into that space right now, but if Alabama would have lost that game, you know what we'd be talking about this morning. And I'm glad we're not talking about it, but do you think that he was waiting? I do, to be honest. I honestly do. And Lane Kiffin has made the entire world about him, okay? So what we know is happening right now is that the Saturday decision was postponed, okay? There was supposed to be a meeting at 9 a.m. That was pushed back. There is supposed to be a meeting at 1 p.m., and I think that, I don't know if that's even going to go down for Kiffin. I have heard the same thing that you have heard. Kiffin is telling people, if you're not on the plane, you're not on the team, okay? This is from Brett McMurphy, this middle part. Lane is threatening if he can't coach at Ole Miss in the playoffs, he's going to poach team and coaches. You guys saw that. Like, this is happening. I do feel this is a really, really bad look for Lane Kiffin. Let me ask you, yes or no inside the comment box, do you think that this has been a PR nightmare? Do you think that this has looked terrible for Lane? How do you view Lane Kiffin right now? And I think he was someone that was really starting to kind of repair his image, but I don't think that people will get past what's happening right now. The only way you get past this is if you win like 3 national championships in a row. But I think overall, the appeal for Lane and all that sort of stuff is really down on the opposite side. Right? I think like he's certain, like true colors continue to come out once again, and this hasn't been a good look for him. Yeah, and Akeem's like, I really don't care. And I think most people are starting to feel like that, Akeem, right? It's like, who gives a damn, right? Ole Miss is completely screwed. Because think about this. And these are some other tweets that came up, like Ross Dellinger was saying, Kiffin has made it clear to Ole Miss administration that he's leaving to LSU. LSU's original proposal was $90 million. We knew that. Meanwhile, back at Oxford, there's a scramble. A postponement of the team meeting to 1 p.m. is related to the university's attempt to retain the staff. Can you imagine being in this situation following an 11-1 season? And think about this. Lane is getting what he wants at LSU. But think about, from Ole Miss perspective, who the hell are they going to hire? I saw this. Did you see this? There's a scenario where Pete Golding, I promise you, did you see this? That Pete Golding could be the interim coach during the playoffs. Pete Golding leading Ole Miss in the playoffs, I promise you. Because where else is Ole Miss going to go? All the young coaches are already getting hired. You saw that like an hour ago. These 4 coaches just got hired. So the Memphis football coach, Ryan Silverfield, he's going to Arkansas. So thank goodness it's not Kane Womack. North Texas, Eric Morris, who was coaching at North Texas, he's going to Oklahoma State. Tulane's John Summerall is going to Florida. And Alex Golish is going to Auburn, which I think is a great hire for Auburn. See, and Lee, you're exactly right, bro. Lee's like, due to the recruiting window for this week, if he goes to LSU, yeah, exactly, 100%. What's he going to do? Coach for the playoffs and recruit for LSU at the same time? So what is Ole Miss going to do from a coaching perspective? Where are they going to go? Pete Golding? Man, that's wild. And a lot of this is coaching calendar, right? Why the hell does early signing day have to be like now? Literally, it's November 3rd through the 5th. But I think Auburn made a good hire right here. I think that's the best hire so far in the offseason is Auburn getting Alex Golish. That's a good hire. 100%. Oh, I guess before I'm talking SEC title game, I want to talk about these hits to the head. Yo, did you see? Yo, I have never seen a quarterback take more blows to the head than Ty Simpson did yesterday. Was there 2 of 3 of these that were called for helmet to the head? Ty Simpson's helmet is about to fall off in this clip right here, or in this frame. I think there were 2 that were taken. And I said, I have a video out there, but it's like, yo, you can say what you want about Ty, but you can't question his toughness. That dude is tough. Look at this one. Yo, I think this one was called, right? Look at that, man. Talk about legitimately having a tough chin. And then this one, they didn't call this one. Yeah, yo, Ferguson, 1,000,000%. Ty looks like a crash test dummy. 1,000,000%, dog. Whatever type of helmet he's wearing here is the type of helmet that I want, the youth to be wearing. Look at this. Isn't this right here? Isn't targeting the crown of the head to the face? I mean, this particular play was not called. Jack saying most of these quarterbacks are not getting up. Hell no. Ty got up every time. How many times did you see Ty like just down on the ground? Like, oh my goodness. No, he popped back up. I think maybe one time. That was crazy. But still in the end, 19 to 35 with 3 touchdowns. Doesn't matter if the touchdown is 60 yards out or 5 yards out or 6 yards out. A touchdown's a touchdown. And an interception's an interception. He threw no interceptions, okay? Auburn can't catch the football. 122 yards, who gives a damn? He threw 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. Finishes the regular season, 25 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But remember that Ty Simpson's interceptions are dog years, okay? So a dog year is 7 years to a human's life. So the math is 4 times 7, Ty threw 28 interceptions to the world, right? So 25 touchdowns, and then 28 interceptions. Right? This guy's a problem. He's coming back next year, too. He's going to be the perfect quarterback for Alex Gollash, this guy. I knew he'd be a problem. Coach Saban was hyping him up. I was like, yep, coach, 1,000,000%. Yo, so what the hell is going on with Ryan Williams, fam? Seriously, let me read this email. Obviously, I can't put the email on screen, but I literally just got an email about Ryan. Let me read it real quick. Oh, I don't think that this is what the email says. The email asked me, and it's fine if you have like questions for me. Go ahead and email. It's cool. So I get a lot of stuff. I hear everything. I see everything too. That Ryan Williams is sitting out the rest of the season because he's going to transfer to LSU. I don't think that. I haven't seen that. It's just people make stupid stuff up. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's it. I think there's something else. I think legitimately what's going on with Ryan Williams is there was no catches, no targets. So, like, what's up, right, in this last game? I legitimately think, and I have I've talked about this a little bit before. I think that other wide receivers are performing at a higher level than Ryan, and that's just it. You hear what I said? I think there's players that Ty has more confidence in, and that's it. Now, the conspiracy theories are he's hurt, that he's transferring, that he's a decoy. I think it's just plain and simple that Ty understands that he's not performing well. Maybe they're not designing things to go his way. And that's it. But I think, honestly, it's just that right now they have more confidence in other wide receivers. And I think you do too. If I was to ask you these 3 questions, how would you respond to me? Okay? Do you have more confidence in Jerry Bernard than that of Ryan Williams? Yes or no? Yes. Do you have more confidence in Isaiah Horton than that of Ryan Williams? Yes. Do you have more confidence in Lazier Brooks compared to Ryan Williams right now? Yes. If you answered yes to all those questions, then you understand why those other players are getting more targets right now. And that's just it. Right? Could it be something else? Who knows? But I think you got to be able to get the ball to the guys that are performing at the highest level. Plus, I will say this. I think that Ryan Williams is more of kind of a deep ball type wide receiver. And Ty doesn't throw the deep ball well. That's not part of their game. Alabama's game is short, intermediate passes. That's why, I like Alabama's chances inside the goal line situation, inside the red zone. But in terms of like deep downfield throws, that's where he struggles. He's not a deep ball type guy. That's an area that he really needs to work on, specifically if he wants to go to the NFL. His deep ball is not very good, not very accurate. Okay, on Jam Miller. Now, can I ask you, and be honest with me, did Jam Miller look better last night? Yes or no? To me, he did. This was the best that Jam Miller looked since the Missouri game. Okay? Now, you didn't hear from me. I think he might have been a little bit banged up before this Auburn game. I'm talking like the weeks prior. Okay? Now, he got banged up again. Now, again, you didn't hear this from me, but I think he's going to be okay and good to go against Georgia. Okay? I felt that even the offensive line in some run blocking situations, that they look good. And I thought Jam looked good. I thought he looked like the best running back on the field last night. I really do. So he got tangled up. He left on crutches. I think he's going to be okay. And I think that it would have been a 100-yard night for Jam Miller. It really would have been. This was his best performance since the Missouri game. So if he can come back and be healthy for Georgia, good to go. And the way that he performed last night, I move him back to running back number 1 if he's good to go. You know, I have seen, though, a couple running backs still on like third down where Auburn was sending the house and like running backs missing defenders. I've seen some of that. But that's kind of the status update on Jam. Thought he did really well. All right, game balls. All right, do you have a game ball? Give somebody a game ball inside the comment box. I'm going to give, I forgot to, because I talked about, some of the top players on defense last night. I didn't mention Bray Hubbard. So that's the first player I'm mentioning right now. Bray Hubbard was at the right place at the right time on that tip ball, right when you needed an interception, right? And then he's responsible for the back end fumble. The defense, is playing absolutely on fire. They're playing at the highest level, and Kane Womack has done a really good job of keeping them kind of turned up, right? So Bray Hubbard, I see Bray Hubbard getting a lot of game balls inside the comment box, and rightfully so. But what about our boy Xavier Brown? Oh, my God. Oh, you know who I need to add to this is Keon Sabb. I'm going to add Keon Sabb right now. I can't let that slide. I'm just going to do it like that. Bring it out. Because Keon Sabb was playing like his hair was on fire. That guy was playing 1,000 miles an hour. It was crazy how fast he was playing. Jonathan actually gives a game ball to Jam. That's not bad. I like that, actually. But Xavier Brown, there was a series of first down, second down, third down, where every single play was made by Xavier Brown, right? He had like a batted ball. Then he had a tackle. And then they challenged him, and he knocked it away, right? Do you see this? Xavier Brown, the crazy thing is Xavier Brown will be a junior next year. So he's coming back, a true junior. We got Isaiah Horton, 3 touchdown catches. Baller performance, right? That first touchdown that he caught, when Ty kind of threw it off his back foot, that was crazy. 3 touchdowns. My goodness. What a performance. And I'm glad. And you know what? He was on my X Factors list, as you saw before the game. I was like, somebody has to step up of that caliber. Glad to see it was him. 6'4", dangerous weapon inside the red zone. Ty Simpson, 3 touchdowns. And how he was able to stay alive in that game, considering they were coming after his head, and considering that he came up big on 4th downs, considering that he continued to gut it out and came up with big plays when they needed him to. I love the 26-yard run that he had to the left side of the sideline. Yeah, so Ty gets a game ball. And then Connor Talty hit a 45-yard field goal and a 28-yard? So he has 2 of 2. Oh, man. So Connor Talty, you get a game ball as well. 2 of 2. I don't care what you did in the past, man. It's all about right now. And it looks to me like Connor Talty had a lot more confidence last night. It seems like he kind of has a little bit of dog in him, right? He seems kind of like pissed off, like a competitor. Love to see it. He had a lot of confidence. It was an important kick last night. 45 yards. The wind was coming in, according to Coach Caitlin DeBoer. Tough kick. Here's the stat sheet, just kind of making sure we don't miss anybody. Maybe we give a game ball to Jam Miller, actually. 15 carries, 83. Yeah, that's good. 5.5, longest at 20. Yeah, we're giving Jam Miller a game ball, too. Let's see, anything over here? Bernard was targeted 10 times, only came up with 3. Some of those were inaccuracies on Ty. These are Auburn stats over here. I mean, what's wild is Ashton Daniels had, over 360 yards total against Bama, including 100 yards rushing. I'm telling you, that guy's tough. And if these guys could catch the ball, they'd be even better, right? The two numbers I look at in a game like this last night is time of possession, which you won, and the turnovers, right? You win those two, and you're good on third downs, which they weren't, you're going to win a lot of football games. Okay, SEC title game. Inside the comment box, 50% of you say you have high confidence, while 40% say mid, and then the rest say low. For me, it's really high. It's high. I have more confidence going into this game than I did against Auburn, and I'm going to explain why. This game will be next Saturday. Is at 2 p.m., right, on ABC. These two teams have played a ton over the last several years. It seems like these teams have some sort of a magnet to come and find each other. And you know what? Let's say Alabama is able to beat Georgia. There's an opportunity that the two teams play again, because they could be seated on the same side of the bracket, or they can meet, in the championship. But this is why my confidence is high, okay? Do you agree with me? Let me know if I'm wrong here. We've seen this before. Maybe a weak argument, but we've seen it before. Every single time. In fact, the last 6 times that these two teams have met, Georgia's been favored. I say this all the time on my show. 1.5 points. That's what they're favored by. We've seen this before. Kickoff at 3 p.m. Central Time. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything. We've seen it before. The last 6 times is crazy. And it always seems, am I crazy? But doesn't it seem that every single time that we're going into this game against Georgia, we're the underdogs, and Georgia's like, this team's unbeatable. They're playing their best football. It's the same storyline every single time. So we've seen this before. We've been here before. Bama's defense. I'm telling you, this is it, okay? Gunnar Stockton, and look, I've given him his kudos. He has done really well on the back end. He has. I don't think that he's dynamic enough to beat Alabama, their defense. I don't think that he's dynamic enough to challenge Alabama's defensive secondary. You better have some elite weapons, and you better be able to hit on some deep balls, okay? I don't think that Gunnar Stockton has the ability to do that against Alabama's defense. I really don't. And I think that Ty will be more of a playmaker and be able to outduel Gunnar Stockton again, okay? I do. I think that he'll be able to make more plays than Gunnar Stockton will. And then what it comes down to, turnovers. Which quarterback will make mistakes? Which quarterback can keep possession of the football, right? But I'm telling you, Gunnar Stockton, as much as he's made improvements, he still is not going to be able to challenge Alabama's elite defense, okay? Coach Kalen DeBoer is 2-0 against Kirby Smart. Does that matter? I don't know, kind of. Kirby Smart's had a hard time beating Alabama lately, and Coach Kalen DeBoer, sometimes people just have your number in life. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but the facts are 2-0. Kalen DeBoer is doing something right. Bama has more on the line. This may be the most important part in why I have confidence level. Because I'm going to say this again. If you watch the NFL, sometimes you get back into week 16, 17, where you've already clinched a playoff spot. Let me ask you, is Georgia in the playoffs if they lose this game? Yes or no? Yes, 100%. They're not going to hold out an 11-2 Georgia team. That means, why does Georgia have to even play their top players? What are you really risking? What are you losing? You losing home field advantage if they get put at 5? Oh, wow. Another opportunity for your economy in Athens, Georgia to host a home playoff game? Remember last year when Carson Beck got hurt? You want to deal with that again? Because I promise you, Yonze Pierre and Quay Russo are coming after you. You have a lot to lose. Kirby Smart already did this last year when Carson Beck got hurt. Yeah, winning the SEC title game means something, but being healthier means more. You want to sacrifice a running back, get twisted up? Things like that happen. I mean, the exact same thing happened to Georgia last year. And they're going to play all their guys, 100%. And they'll play to win because they have pride in performance. It's just Bama has more on the line, right? Bama has much more on the line. But overall, I just think that Bama will catch them again. Kind of rewind to what happened when the last time that these two teams played. It was 24-21. Alabama had nearly 400 yards of offense. Where this game really came down to was third down conversions. And that's something that Alabama really hasn't been that successful on the last couple of weeks. But they are 13 of 19. They did a damn good job on third downs in this game. Plus, they controlled that time of possession. Look at that. 35-36 to Georgia's 24-24. It has to be something similar again. Alabama has to get back to the time of possession if they want to make a run at this thing. Ty Simpson played his you-know-what off, right? 24 of 38, 2 touchdowns for 276. We need this Ty Simpson, okay? We need him to be accurate, Ty Simpson. It seems to me like he's more inaccurate towards the back end of the season than he was at the beginning. Maybe he's thinking too much about it, but he seems way more inaccurate at this point in the season, which isn't good. All right. Jam Miller, he had 46 off 16 carries. We need him to be healthy. Isaiah Horton caught himself a tutty. And I do remember Georgia had a couple explosives, so you need to limit that because they do have weapons clearly. Alabama has won the last 10 out of 11 games. The last 10 out of 11. This is crazy. Look, they played in the SEC title game in 2023, in 2021, in 18, in 2012. They played in the title in 18 and 22. They played in some regular season matchups. And most of these games have all been in Georgia. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games. Yo, all those games have been in Georgia. Now, the one time that Bama took it on the chin was in 2022 for the national title. And I still feel, even in that game, if Alabama would have had healthy wide receivers, they probably win that game too. So it's not like I'm making things up. The last 10 out of 11, those are facts, period. In terms of the conference championship games, here are the lines. So you have Texas Tech, a minus 12.5 point favorite over BYU. I think Tech will wreck them again. Bama and Georgia. It's Georgia minus 1.5. You have Duke taking on Virginia. Virginia 2.5. And you have Ohio State 5.5 against Indiana. So I think in kind of closing, I have to ask you this, okay? This is something kind of to walk away with as we take a midday pause and see all the news come in, okay? Stay with me here. We have 2 coaches right here on screen. We have a coach on the left that somewhere in the back of our mind, maybe we think of a coach that could be. But the coach on the left is completely different than the coach on the right. And I feel at times we still haven't fully embraced Coach Kalen DeBoer because ironically, there might be some part of us still kind of holding on to Coach Saban or somehow hoping for something better, right? I think it's important to embrace the guy on the right, the guy that's here, the guy that is winning here. And I know there's so much smoke, there's so much noise about other jobs and all this sort of stuff because it's silly season. And while Kiffin is funnier, he has better press conferences, right? He's kind of like that guy. He has kind of the look and all that stuff. The guy on the right seems like he's the guy for the job. And 10-2 in his second year and taking Alabama to the SEC title game. And I have never heard Kalen DeBoer say that he doesn't want to be here. I think it's a continued transitional phase. If you're not from the Southeast, it might take you a little bit to get acclimated. Maybe that might be some of it. But I don't know. The coach on the right seems to be doing a pretty good job. And I think that kind of echoes in life is like the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think if you continue to just water your grass, isn't that what they say? Then things will just work out. Things are working out for Coach Kalen DeBoer. 10-2, 7-1 in SEC play. That's pretty damn good football. All right. So, look, there's a ton of news. I'm pumping out videos like every hour. It's important that you are subscribed. It's important that you keep refreshing and checking back for new videos. This video was kind of more college football and college football playoff rankings. I'll see what I have, kind of in store later on today. I also have a Facebook channel if you guys want to go and interact over there. And I appreciate you guys. Honestly, this is kind of grind time. There's a lot to go over. There's a ton of news. If you have questions, post them inside the comment box, and I'll be happy to get to them when I can. But I really appreciate you guys for watching and hitting the thumbs up on all those videos, super chats, becoming a fan funder, whatever it is. I appreciate it all. So once again, thank you so much for kicking it with me during this Sunday midday broadcast. Let's watch a little NFL and news as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. You guys enjoy the show? You guys have a good show? I know I did. I might give me some lunch and kick it. I need to see. I'm going to go watch some NFL for a little while too. But all the coaching changes and everything like that is crazy. It's bananas. And the thing, the early signing day is here. It's crazy. Whew. Yeah, these are the rankings in case you guys missed them. It was at the beginning of the show. And these are the coaches' rankings right here. These are all my slides. Sorry. Here's one more time. Here's a look at the coaches poll. Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, A&M, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama. And all the teams that wish they were on the left column to the right. All right, fam. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll be back as news happens. There's a lot of news, so keep coming. Oh, and keep checking like the YouTube Shorts feed or the Facebook channel because I'm posting smaller clips over there as well. All right? Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll be back as news happens right here on Bama Football on you. Oh, shoot, damn. This afternoon is important while I have you guys. Eyes up. 4 p.m. Central Time, I have the SEC teleconference with Kalen DeBoer and Kirby Smart. So that's at 4 p.m. So I got to run my daughter out. 2 to 3, I got a meeting at the Bama Theater. And then at 4 p.m., I'm back here for the SEC teleconference call. Okay? So news and updates all day long right here on Bama Football on YouTube.